Hey, we are live. Welcome to Tuesday Talks. It is Tuesday. It's Tuesday afternoon, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And of course, you guys know, if you watch this show regularly, I am in Idaho, so it's Mountain Standard Time. Southern Idaho, that is. So good to be on here with you guys today. We have a tradition. What we do here is we always like to start off by saying, let's make sure that you can hear me, you can see me. So if you can hear me and see me, please drop a comment. Let me know yes, no, maybe so, and that'll let me know that everything's good to go. I'll jump right into it. Boy, we got a lot of interesting stuff. It could get interesting today. Could get spicy. Could get heated. Could be an interesting show, or it could be an opportunity for conversation, dialogue, understanding, and then mutually being able to be helpful to one another. If you guys have followed the conversation at all recently in the Facebook group, the PDX REI group, you guys know that that's one of the communities that I am the admin. I'm the founder of PDX. P is in Peter, PDX REI group. If you're not from Portland, and you might not know what that is, but PDX REI group, and you look us up on Facebook. And we've got a really great group there. And oops, I got to mute that here. Okay, so anyway, we got that great group, and had a couple of people that have been making little comments here and there, and it's not really necessarily helpful, not necessarily something that contributes. But what I did was I kind of put out a warning. I've replied a couple of times to this one particular gentleman, and he actually has replied back. I said, why don't you come on the show today and present yourself? I'll give you 5 minutes uninterrupted time to give us the warning. And what's interesting about it is that, hey, Sherry, good to see you. Glad to have you here today. Sherry Moore, a regular weekly attender. Anyway, this guy, I haven't heard anything back from him since I put that out there. So he might be busy. Maybe he's scouring the group and the community looking for other things that he can kind of dog on. But I only have, I'm a pretty patient guy. I'll just put it that way. I can put up with a lot. I grew up in a construction job site. I tell people this before, like, you can call me whatever you want to. I've been cussed out by the best of them. Okay. I've been cussed out by big old, huge construction guys straight out of prison. The only job they could get was working for my dad. I was the pipsqueak. I was the little guy on the job. I have been called everything you can imagine, and then stuff you probably could never even heard of because they made it up while they were mad. But the point of all that is to say, you're going to be really hard pressed to offend me. Okay. Having said that, we created the PDX REI group and the TV REI group, Treasure Valley Real Estate Investors group, and the other communities that I am a part of, or at least that I have any say so in. I believe that we should cultivate conversations that are meaningful, helpful, beneficial. And, by the way, if I'm saying this and this resonates with you, give me a thumbs up, give me some kind of love here in the comments, because I hope that that's what you're all about too. So we have a really, really great community. We are regularly in there making posts. People are talking all the time. Last time I checked, in fact, I'm just going to look right now, PDX REI group says that, let's see, the PDX REI group, it says that we've got 4,100 members in our community there. So that's supposed to be local, to Portland. I know that not everybody in that group is probably Portland based, but the point is this: we have a really great community. We really have a lot of activity. We have a lot of great conversations. There's a lot of contributions. People are in there all the time. It's not my group, it's your group, really, if you're in the Portland area, and you should take advantage of it. Having said that, it does no good whatsoever to go in there and just kind of cherry pick when you want to make a comment and always say something that is negative or is trying to make somebody look bad. It's just like we have enough of that going on in the world. We don't need that going on in the groups that we go to get help, right? So anyway, I'm a big believer in let's try to be looking out for each other. And maybe this particular guy that was making the comments, maybe he thinks that's what he's doing. And he seems to think that he knows a lot about our group and, what my motives are. And so I said, hey, why don't you come on and just tell the whole world that it's YouTube land. You can stream it. We're live. So, by the way, sir, if you know who you are and you know that I'm talking about you, then just make a little comment here and I will send you an invite right away. You can jump on here, join me live, make sure your camera's on, and we'll talk about it. Okay. And I'll let you have your piece, and then I'll be able to answer back. How's that sound? Right? Sound like a good plan? Okay, good. Well, beside that, and if that happens, we'll go ahead and pause the content and we'll move over to that direction. But beside that, what I wanted to talk about today is auctions. Okay, so public foreclosure auctions. I want to talk about that. Wanted to also talk about financing, right? Financing is a big one. In fact, financing, and the reason I was even we're having this conversation today with this particular guy about what his thoughts are and things like that is because I made a request last week. I had a deal that turned out I needed some financing for to get an arrears part caught up to stop an auction. And I needed that to come in pretty quickly. So I made a very generous offer to anyone that wanted to jump in, and it was $50,000. Had somebody jump in. We got everything signed legally. It's being recorded this week, and that $50,000 funded right away. And I'm offering that gentleman a very, very nice, sizable return to partner up with me on this property. So the point is this: I made that post, and then a couple people were like, "Hey, me," and then there's this guy that came in and kind of was like, "Hey, this is not right. This is illegal. You can't do this." And really, it had nothing but grief to bring to the conversation. And so in doing that, and I answered him. I tried to be generous. By the way, guys, I'm the admin, so I can literally boot anybody out and block them from seeing our group. And I have done that in the past to people that were troublemakers. But I don't want to be perceived at all as somebody who is not able to tolerate any kind of pushback. I love conversation, and so I'm happy to have conversation. Rebuttals, all those things doesn't bother me at all. Hey, I've learned things from people that had stuff to say that I didn't necessarily agree with, but I learned from them, right? Come on. If you guys have ever got something out from somebody else in a conversation that you didn't necessarily agree with the person, but you learned from them, drop the word learn in the comments. I just want to see if you guys, you've ever had a conversation with somebody you didn't necessarily agree with, but you did at least learn something from them as a result of that conversation. Type the word learn in the comments. I want to see if I'm the only one or if anybody else out there knows what it's like, right? We can disagree and still learn from one another. Okay. So I don't have a problem with somebody having a disagreement. Thank you, Sherry. I see that right there. Learn. Absolutely. So I don't necessarily have a problem with someone who disagrees with me. And I don't even have a problem with someone posting their opinions in the group. But what's happened is, okay, here we go. Kevin Smith says learn. Good. I'm not the only one then. Thank you. So, but when we have people that the only reason they show up and make any comment at all is just to, stir things up. That's not really helpful. It's not contributing at all. We got the REI Junkie says learn. I'm not sure I know who that is. So REI Junkie, welcome today. Good to have you here. Hey, there's Arturo. Good to have you here today, Arturo. So we made this comment. I made this post last week. And by the way, I just want to say this real quickly. I don't normally do that. I think it was last Tuesday Talks. Hey, there's Tess. Good to see you, Tess. Hope everything went well this morning. We'll definitely catch up with our scheduled call. But I made this post last week about, hey, I I'm needing money. Normally I would go to my private money list and I would kind of just work this and we'd have it all worked out. But I know my private money lenders pretty well. I also know, which ones are tied up on which projects. And I also know that sometimes people, they just want to be able to jump in and do something for the first time. And so I threw it out there. Hey, I've got this project. Let me know. I'll give you the details. But here's basically the deal. $50,000. It has to fund immediately, and it's a 20% return. Guys, this is something that we do. This is a part of real estate investing all the time. And so I have somebody going in the group and making comments about this is illegal and you're going to get ripped off and this is a scam. And the only reason why this group exists is to rip people off. And I know what your motives are. That's not really contributing to the overall health and well-being of this group. Raise your hand or say me if you already have enough negative talk going on inside your own head. You don't need anybody else's to help. Can anybody else can I get a witness? Say me in the comments. Type me in the comments if you already have enough negativity going on in between your two ears. And you don't necessarily need somebody else contributing to that end, right? Thank you, Mary. I see that. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Tess said the same thing. Me. By the way, guys, none of us are exempt from the negativity, right? Hey, there's Joel. Joel, good to have you on here today, bro. Here's Peggy, Miss Peggy Mouse. Yeah, we all know what it's like to have negativity going on and having us. Kevin says I have voices in my head too. Yep. Well, we all have that. Some people call it that lizard brain. It's that side of us that is not. It's really not necessarily working to our best benefit. And by the way, if you guys know anything about brain studies, they're finding out stuff. They're finding out. They say there's more been discovered about the human brain in the last 6 years than there has been in the last 6,000 years. That's a really, really crazy statement. More has been discovered about the human brain and the way the mind works in the last 6 years because of the advent of technology. We're able to track these things. More has been discovered in the last 6 years than the last 6,000 years. And one of the things that is, commonly, I guess, understood, or at least, known, talked about, is the fact that we have that fight or flight tendency. And sometimes when things are new or they're a little bit scary, that there's a voice that kicks in. It's like a protective voice. It's kind of our basically your thoughts, kind of, they move up through your spinal cord into your brain. It starts right down here at the very base, and that's why you get tension in your neck and you get all like that. And those thoughts are usually protective, and they're designed to help you, like, hey, don't do this. This could be bad, right? And so if the only, by the way, if you guys know the proper terms, like, I don't know, prefrontal cortex and all that stuff, I don't know enough about it to know that, but I do know this: we have these thoughts and they race up our head. And by the way, most thoughts never make it up here where like the deep thinking goes on. And because it gets stopped along the way, there's like actually a travel. They can track it with the neurons and the what do they call it? The ability to track the actual electronic pulses that are given off by thoughts and things like that. And these thoughts, really, a lot of times they hang out down here on the back, and they don't work their way up very far before there's different stages as they move up toward the prefrontal cortex, I think it is, before they end up getting squashed. And those thoughts are thoughts of what we call negativity, but really what it is, it's actually a built-in designed mechanism. And I personally, you guys know me, I believe it was instituted, put in there by our creator. Unfortunately, we are a lot of times in our culture, we have been trained to listen to that voice as opposed to that voice that's just there to kind of protect us, like, from those natural things that happen in the world, right? So certain things happen, you have an initial instinct that causes you to be aware, to be heightened senses of alertness and protection, and typically this would be kind of what they call fight or flight, right? So we all have those. So I'm not saying that if you have negative thoughts, that means somehow or another you're like, oh, I can't believe you. That's not it at all. We all have that. In fact, it's a built-in natural part of our existence. What you have to learn how to do, and some of you know this. I see Peggy. Peggy says, I'm really being positive. Good. Okay. And Peggy says, I've even helped people to be positive today. I'm sure you have. Peggy, just you showing up in the room helps people be more positive. So anyway, when you come into those types of situations where those negative thoughts are showing up, those protective thoughts, you have to actually let the thought continue down the path and process it a little bit more and find out, is this actually a danger to me? Is this actually something that I need to be concerned about? Or is this something that I am just, it's a natural instinct, it's an impulse, and I need to be able to override that? Does that make sense? Like, you have to learn how to override those things. And so when I made a post last week, which I don't normally do, but it was truly a situation where, like, I need to get some money together quickly. So I made this post, and then there's, got the money, we got everything arranged, we're working on getting everything recorded. The project is moving along very nicely. We expect we'll have this particular person have their money that they gave us on this project. We're hoping or anticipating we'll have it back before the end of the year. And it may even be sooner than that. So just depends, right? Things have to actually get listed and get sold. The point is this, though: when you have someone who their only reaction and only reaction is to shoot it down, make fun of it, say this is a scam, and they don't just do that once; they do it over and over and over again. At some point, you kind of have to go, okay, what's going on here? And so I offered this particular gentleman. I said, hey, I made it in the post. It's public. I said, hey, if you want to come on and talk about it, if you want to show up, I'll give you 5 minutes. Give us all of your warnings. What's happened probably is this particular person has been, probably been screwed over somehow, somewhere by somebody. And now it's his life's mission to make sure that everybody knows about that, and everybody knows that they should never do business. By the way, if you operate in that way, it's called fear-based thinking, scarcity mindset. I can promise you one thing. You will not be successful. It just doesn't work. Scarcity mindset, fear-based thinking will not produce success. Write that down. I mean, type it in the comments, whatever, so you get it, right? I have some things sometimes whenever I'm getting super stressed and tense and I have all this stuff, it's like, oh, I have a thing where I'll clap my hands like that. I'll clap my hands and just get my attention. And at that physical motion and that sound actually really drives me to kind of snap out of it. And it's like there's a physical motion that's involved with causing me to snap out of the fear-based thinking, get out of that scarcity mindset. Even if the reality around us is that, man, these things are all bad, which, by the way, we find ourselves in those types of situations, right? We do find that, right? It's not like life is all peaches and cream, right? It's not all a bed of roses. We know that. But just because there's things on there that are popping up in our life and they're surrounding us, that doesn't mean that we have to just dwell in that. Sometimes you got to snap out of it. You got to force yourself out of it, right? Whatever you do, it could be a little something like that. You can have a mantra that you repeat. You can have a place that you go. And for me, I'm really action oriented. So if I sit too long in it, even if sometimes I'll of course pray about things and process things, write it out. But sometimes I just got to get up and I got to go on a walk, right? I got to go on a brisk walk. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care. I got to go out and walk. I got to jog a little bit. I got to smack my hands together. I've got to get up and do some kind of physical action that helps me kind of break the mental stuff that's going on in my head. Because if we live in our head, if we only operate from a place of fear, we will not be successful. It's just that they do not go hand in hand. You do not build a life that's worth living by being fearful of everything and everyone. It just doesn't happen that way. So anyway, if that makes sense, I know it's not really what I got on here to talk about, but by the way, if the guy is on here today, feel free to just post a comment. I'll bring you on. Maybe there's something we need to hear. So let's see here some of the comments. Sherry says, voices in my head, Randy or Sherry, you're giving yourself away here. We're learning all kinds of things about you. By the way, guys, Sherry Moore is a great local Gator lender. She can help facilitate loans and things like that. Joel says, I should ask a caveat, you helped me overcome these negative thoughts. Awesome. Joel, I'm glad to hear that, brother. Appreciate you. Definitely came in. And by the way, guys, Joel is, he's not necessarily new to wholesaling, new to real estate, new to investing. He's actually done a deal kind of, it sounded like to me it was whenever him and I talked, it was a deal where he kind of bought it and worked on it himself. I don't know if it's like a house hack situation. Maybe Joel can make some more comments, but he's looking for another deal in the Portland area. You guys can reach out to him if you have any deals and you want to talk to him about. Jenny says this, he only has one friend on Facebook, even though his account was created a long time ago. It looks suspicious. I hate that for people, right? Because the truth of the matter is, and by the way, it could be a bot. You never know with all this stuff these days, right? But I want people to be successful. I want people to actually win. I think there's plenty of deals. I think there's plenty of money. I think there's plenty of success for everybody to have a part. And really, how much you have is going to depend on how much you go out and produce. I was down in Omaha, Nebraska for the last part of last week, which, by the way, if you guys know where Omaha, Nebraska is, you get a prize. I kind of know, because like geography is not something I'm like super, up on, but it's like, okay, I think I know where Nebraska is. But anyway, I had to go to Nebraska for a meeting that was scheduled a long time ago. And was there. It's part of Myron Golden's mentorship. I'm in one of his coaching groups, and I've been in there for about 10 months, coming up on a year. And one of the things that Myron said, which I love this, I've heard him say this before, but he says, your wealth or your success, your financial, goals will be directly related to the value that you bring to the marketplace or to the world. That's a huge, huge statement. You take all the different things about success and stuff out, You just look at it like that. Your success, your wealth is going to be determined or directly related to the amount of value that you bring to the marketplace or to the world. Okay, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but you get the idea, right? You have to produce value to be able to expect the benefit of making money, right? So when you have a mindset that is scarcity and is negative, it is almost impossible to be able to produce real lasting value. Does that make sense? You guys make a comment value in the comments. Drop the word value in the comments if that makes sense to you guys. I'm just let's see here. Let's see. I'm just looking at some. I just want to make sure I didn't miss this. If there's somebody looking to reach out to me, the point is this. I like it whenever I like being around people that bring value. Thank you, Tess, Misty. I see a lot of value there. Perfect. You got value. You guys, you got to bring value, right? If you aren't bringing value, then why in the world would you expect there to be some level of success, right? In other words, you have to look at yourself and say, am I actually producing value, or am I just looking to attack or maybe even to be suspicious of those that are bringing value? Okay, so I have this weird, I don't know if it's weird, but it's probably weird to some. I have this idea that I have no problem paying someone for what they're worth. Okay, I know that's a really novel concept. I have no problem paying someone for what they're worth. In fact, I don't really like. And by the way, I'm a deal guy, right? So I love negotiating deals. I love getting best price, all those kinds of things. But when it comes to an individual who is producing something, right? If it comes to an individual who, whether it's a contractor, whether it's someone managing a project, I have a project going on right now. In fact, the one that I was looking for the financing for on this last week. I have somebody that is literally on that project every single day of the week. They're out there, they're managing it. I have no problem paying them. Why? Because they're bringing value to me. That project is going to continue to move forward so I can go and work on the things that I need to work on. And this is not even somebody who's like a professional contractor. It's someone that I know is really, really good with keeping schedules. They're really good with managing things. And I just let them know, hey, you go out there and you manage this thing, and you just keep track of your hours, or I can do a flat rate. I can, you can bill me however you want to. But the point is, they're bringing value. I have no problem paying them. Okay. I have no problem paying someone a very, very handsome return on their money if the value that I get is something that actually, benefits what I'm trying to do right now. Right. Does that make sense? So I think that if we could focus on producing value, and then also make sure that when other people are bringing value to us, that we're not trying to get them to take a reduced price or reduced benefit for the value they're producing. But let's work on, how about work with people that are bringing value to one another, right? How about work with people that are actually, their mission is to bring value to the world, to the workplace, to the relationship, to the deal, right? This is why, by the way, in real estate, so many wholesalers, they get started and they don't last. It's not because there's not deals out there. In fact, wholesalers see more deals than anybody. The reason why a lot of wholesalers don't last is because they don't actually end up bringing a significant enough value to the people they're working with, whether it's the seller, right? Working out real solid contractual terms with the seller and helping them understand the situation, helping them understand how to get the best price, helping them understand the nature of the deal so that if the deal doesn't actually go through, they don't just leave them ghosted, right? You got to bring value to the seller and you got to bring value to the flippers. What's something that most wholesalers completely miss when it comes to marketing their deals? Anybody want to take a guess? Take a gander, drop it in the comments. Something that most wholesalers completely miss, or they might mention it, but usually their numbers are way, way off. And there's a direct reason why they don't end up closing the deals that they get under contract. And most of it is because they miss this one important thing and they're not bringing the right kind of value to the flipper that is looking at their deals. I'm going to look at the comments here. Joel said, I accidentally ended up a landlord. The tenants trashed the house, so I fixed it up myself and sold it, opening my eyes to the beauty of real estate. There you go. There you go. Way to go, Joel. So you guys look up Joel Weinman. He's in there in the Portland area. Test, perfect. Okay, Test says not enough meat on the bone. So the whole idea is you have to be able to produce or to bring a deal to the marketplace. By the way, the marketplace for wholesalers, their buyers are typically going to be investor buyers, right? Like a Joel Weinman, someone like an Andy Bauman, someone like a Jenny Butler. Okay, people that are actually in this business to buy, to flip. Okay, so when you're out there bringing value as a wholesaler, you need to make sure that you include and you negotiate a good enough deal that says, okay, the seller is going to get what they get, but then there's enough meat on the bone, so to speak. There's enough room left in here to do all the work that's needed to be done, and it has to actually be realistic, right? You see wholesalers put on there like, oh, $25,000 in renovation costs. Not on hardly any job that I've been working on lately. I mean, even the one that I'm working on right now, I'm looking at the prices. I always try to get 3 or 4 different bids for all my stuff. I'm looking at prices. I'm like, goodness gracious, I need to go back into full-time construction. That's where the money's at these days, friends. I'm telling you, I got plumbers and trim guys and flooring guys are laying down snap together flooring, and they're making better money than most doctors do. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. So architects used to be the ones that got paid a lot. It's now the actual tradesmen. Anyway, so the point is, but here we go again. Okay, let's talk about value. Those guys are bringing value by helping these projects get done. I'm not having to be out there with my tool bags on, so I have to be willing to pay them. By the way, that means I have to be able to negotiate the price down far enough and make sure there's enough of a deal there that makes sense for us to go out and borrow money and leverage things and manage the project to get it done, right? So value exchange is hugely important to winning in the economy that we're in, winning in business, winning in relationships, winning in life in general. So I feel bad for people who don't understand that. And because they lack the understanding of that, their tendency is to attack others who are bringing value. Now, to be very clear, okay, by the way, I'm going to flip this hat around. I think that metal band is digging into my forehead. To be very clear, is there a time and a place to warn people about the potential of a bad deal or a bad actor? Yes, of course there is, okay? Having said that, if you've never really contributed to the group and you're not really a part of anything regularly that's going on, and the only thing you want to do is say how everybody's trying to rip you off and rip people off, and I'm here to warn and protect people, that's not really a great way to show that you actually care, because the only thing you ever did was mentioned, how everybody's out there to get you. There's times and places, right? For instance, we have people in our PDX REI group that sometimes I will, if I see them posting, especially if I see them asking a lot about money, I will typically go in there and I'll set some comments or set some things on that particular person where I have to see that their post needs approval before I'll go and let it be seen. Why? Because I don't want to have, now I don't just kick those people out, but I just noticed that there's a pattern where someone's just constantly asking for money. I'm aware of that, and we're aware as consumers, as people that are part of this. We're grown-ups, right? We're in business. We understand. We're not naive. We understand that there's certain things you have to check into. You got to be careful about. But having said that, if you're in business, you understand this. It's going to take money to make a business run properly. And the idea of value exchange and money being exchanged or borrowed to go get a project done, and then when that project is done, it produces enough revenue to be able to generate a payment back to the lender plus a nice return. That's just something that's been going on for hundreds and if not thousands of years, right? It's just the way that business works. And so someone who doesn't understand that, and they're commenting about how all these people are trying to rip you off and this is a scam, and that's the only thing they have to say about it, it's usually an indicator of their lack of understanding. They're not really a sophisticated people. They don't know how business works, or maybe they do, but they got ripped off or they got hurt in a particular area, and that's kind of instead of getting over it and learning from it and failing forward, so to speak, they're constantly living in that space of regret and fear, scarcity, and it really doesn't help them or anyone else. Sherry says bringing value is important for me, I find it challenging sometimes to balance what I'm doing. So when folks need lots of help, to balance doing so. Yeah, I get that. So that's actually a great segue into something else I was going to talk about here today, or at least it got mentioned, and I was just going to mention it to you guys. One of the things that in the business training I was in Omaha, which I think I saw somebody made a comment about. Let me look here. Someone said something about Omaha. Oh, Sherry said, I dropped a friend off in Omaha for Christmas break many years ago. It was funny because I landed, I was there for the night, and I called my wife, and she's like, and I told her I'm flying to Omaha. Normally I'm in Portland every third week for my meetup, but this is already pre-scheduled. And I told my wife I was in Omaha. She's like, I don't even know where that is. I said, I actually don't either. I've got on an airplane and I flew here and landed and went straight to the conference. So I don't know where so we had a little geography lesson. Over the phone, we looked it up and saw where we were. But actually downtown Omaha was kind of cool. Old town, old market, they call it. Old brick buildings, brick cobblestone streets. It was pretty cool. But the thing I was there for, and the reason I go to these events is to get in the room and just try to soak up like a sponge. If some of you guys try to get a hold of me on Thursday, Friday, Saturday last week, you probably didn't get a response because I am in those rooms. I'm soaking up as much intentional learning in that time as I possibly can. And it was definitely a couple of days well spent for me, at least. And I think it's going to benefit some of you. So here's one of the things that was mentioned that I think will help you. I'll pass it on. If you do something right with it, it'll help you. One of the things that was mentioned is you have to look at the different kind of business that you're in. Okay. So meaning this, there's what is called an LV and LP type of business. Okay. And what that is low volume, low profit. Okay. So this would be somebody that's maybe offering, and I'm not picking on anybody because, by the way, I started this way years ago when I was a kid, but let's just take somebody who's a teenage kid, or maybe somebody who's 12, 13 years old, and he's wanting to start a business mowing lawns for his friends and neighbors, right? Okay. So there's not typically a high profit. It's usually a low profit. And you can only do one particular thing at a time. So that would be low profit and low volume, right? You can't do a lot of them at the same time. So low volume plus low profit is really the worst type of business model that you could actually be in. Does that make sense? Okay. So then there's high volume, low profit. Now that would be something, if you guys want to take notes on this, that would be kind of your Walmart type of a business. Now, again, Walmart is a highly successful business, but think about this. They kind of made their name in the space by selling typically retail type of products, low profit, but high volume, right? So they do a ton of it. So they're manufacturing stuff, they're sending out in all their stores. So you have low profit, but high volume. This would be kind of like your, what are those stores they have, like the seller stores on an Amazon seller and that kind of thing. It's not really actually a super, it has potential, but you've got to do a ton of volume to actually make decent money, right? So that would be LP, low profit, but high volume, HV business. Okay, so you have HV, LP, you have LP, LV, low profit, low volume. You have low profit, high volume. Then you have low volume, high profit. Okay, there's another business model. Okay, that would actually be what we would typically think of like with real estate flipping, for example. There's many other examples of this type of business, but you have a lower volume, but you have a higher profitability, right? So that's where a lot of real entrepreneurs make their money. That's where a lot of business owners are working, especially you think about people that charge a premium for their services, and they're not able to do a lot of those transactions. In other words, their volume is fairly low, but their profit margins are high enough to where they can actually generate pretty good returns, okay? Now, the ideal type of business, you guessed it probably, is high volume, high profit. So you have a high profit margin. You have something that sells, whether it's a business, a service, a product. Typically, this is going to be more of a service. And it could even be intellectual property that you have, knowledge, consulting, things like that, where you're actually able to sell your knowledge, your skill set for a high price, and you're able to do it in a high volume type of method. So that would typically be kind of a one-to-many type of a sale, or being able to teach, a room full of people, everyone comes together, or being able to help a bunch of different business owners with one particular service. Those are the different business models. So having said all that, this is what I brought that up. We talk about value. If you guys want to focus on who to help, and Sherry mentioned here, I'll pull it up again. She says, I find it challenging sometimes to bring value to help people, to balance doing so when folks need lots of help. So sometimes there's people that need a ton of help, right? And so you have to look at those types of situations. You have to say, is this the person, the avatar, the customer that I want to actually spend my time serving? Now, this is where you start getting into some of the things. What is it personally drives you, right? For instance, Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Sam Walton was at one point the richest businessman in America. His wealth far surpassed Bill Gates. In fact, Bill Gates became the third richest person in America when Sam Walton died, and he was third behind Sam Walton's estate got split up between his wife and his kids. So there was first, second, and third were all taken place by the Walmart empire, and Bill Gates was third behind them. So anyway, that's kind of an interesting fact, right? But the point is this: Sam Walton, he focused on his avatar was helping everyday American people with be able to get cheap products, right? And they were able to get it; it was available everywhere. There was a Walmart store. That was how the whole thing started off. You guys have the luxury, you and we have the luxury of being able to decide what kind of business do we want to be in, who do we actually want to serve, and what is the profitability of that. So if you guys are watching this today and you're just thinking about your business and kind of getting into it, or maybe you're in it but you're just feeling like you've kind of hit that ceiling, think about where you're at. Where are you at on that schedule? Are you on a low profit, low volume? Are you on a higher profit, low volume? Are you on a lower volume, or lower profit, higher volume, right? Are you selling retail products, or is your business more of a high volume, high profit? Now, the thing about high volume, high profit is that you have to have something, you have to bring enough value that people will pay you for it, right? That's the whole idea. You have to bring enough value to people where they'll be able to pay you for it, and it's so you can't just go out there and be like, I'm just going to raise my price and make $100,000 if you wanted me to work with you. Well, there might be people that'll pay you $100,000, but you have to show or prove that you have the ability to bring value to them to where that is a fair exchange. Okay, so we think about real estate, think about investing, think about finances and things like that. There's people out there that have the money and they want to put that money to work, and real estate oftentimes provides a perfect avenue or vehicle for them to put their money out to the marketplace. It's secured, it's collateralized, it comes back to them with a healthy return. You recycle it, you keep doing that, you're gonna do well. Okay. Obviously, it depends on the amount of principal that you're investing, but the point is this: that's a great way to do it. That would be kind of a what we call maybe a high profit, considerably speaking, right? At high profit, maybe low volume, unless you have access to a lot of money, and like maybe someone like Sherry who can actually negotiate arrangements and relationships with people that have high amounts of money, and she's able to put their money to work and do a higher volume, because she's not limited to just her money in her account, right? She can do a higher volume and charge a premium and get a return on that. So now, premium is subjective, right? So high profitability is definitely something that's subjective to each person, each situation. The point is this: if you guys want to actually see good returns on your efforts, if you want to actually see really substantial benefit for the work that you do, you want to actually build your wealth in a way that is that's honest, and it's reputable, and it's something that you are enjoying doing, you have to be able to bring volume to the marketplace. So you need to ask yourself the question, what value do I bring? And also, is the the current place where I'm serving is the current market avatar, is my ideal client profile. They call it your ICP in marketing. Is my ideal client, is my ICP, is this the person I really want to actually be serving? Okay. Because that right there will determine a lot about how invested in the thing that you're doing you actually are, and how long you stick with it. Because you have to be able to remember, I have to be serving someone. I have to be able to bring value to someone. And the question is, does that someone have the ability or the potential ability to be able to pay you a nice return for the value that you brought them? That's a really simple way to look at business, but it'll really take a lot of the stress out of trying to figure out what to do. If you just look at like, who do I want to serve and can they pay me? Okay, well, maybe I want to serve these particular people, but they can't pay me. So maybe I find someone else who can pay me. I adjust what I'm doing a little bit. And then as a benefit of getting the return from that investment, I'm able to actually help these other people that I really feel strongly about. Does that make sense? And that would typically be like maybe in a nonprofit or just being able to volunteer, do things like that. The point is, you've got to be looking at all these things and considering all of it when you're in business. Okay. So this is not just necessarily today about real estate. It's talking about just business practices in general, just as a human being. What do you have that you can use to bring value to other people? Who are those people you're going to be bringing value to? And do they have the potential to pay you, right? And then how much do you want to get paid? These are all things that you should be thinking about if you're in business at all. So today I told you I wanted to talk about auctions, about financing. I can't say, there remember something else I was going to point out, but I'm going to talk real quickly about auctions and auction.com. So I had someone who reached out to me about a property. In fact, I'm going to see if I can, I'm going to see if I can do this today, guys. So give me a second. I'm going to pull up this property and see if we can actually look at this together for the last couple minutes that we have together. So, okay. Yes. Yep. Okay. It's there. Okay. I'm going to see if I can present this. You guys let me know if you can see the screen. See if I can share the screen with you. Sharing the screen. Select screen or window. Let's see here. I want to do, yeah, that screen. Okay, guys, bear with me 1 second. Okay, here we go. You guys, let me know. Can you see that? Let me know if you guys can see that. I think that you should be able to see that, right? I just want to, somebody make a comment if you can see that. This is the property. I've actually told you guys about this property here in Portland, 2344 Northeast 42nd Avenue. This is a property that I have in Portland. I've been working on this property in some way, shape, or form for almost 2 years now. So, but notice this, that it's on auction, it's on Zillow, and it's listed on Zillow as an auction property. Okay. And then notice also down here that it's actually got a branding on it. It's auction.com is the property, and it's auction.com is a brokerage firm. They're an auction house. This foreclosure property offered by auction.com. Buy this property on auction.com. And then someone told me earlier today that he said, hey, isn't this your property? Yes, it is. It's posted on Zillow at auction.com. And it's going to auction on November 6th. Okay, so which is, I appreciate this person letting me know this. Actually, I'm glad to see people are looking out for me. Okay, now here's the thing about this particular property. And by the way, if we just click this button, it's going to probably take us over to auction.com. Yeah. Okay, so here we are on auction.com. And look at this right here. This property is likely to go to auction. Okay, so first thing I want to let you guys know is this is just auction.com is a clearinghouse. Look at this here. Most liens were removed after. Okay, that's not actually, that doesn't pertain to what we're talking about. This property, look at this, cleared for auction? No, not yet. You see that right there? This property is not going to auction.com, conducted by auction.com. Well, the foreclosure trustee of this property probably has some kind of a contractual agreement that allows this property to be posted on auction.com. But look, it's not cleared for auction yet. This is not going to auction. It's actually not even in foreclosure anymore. It's just that the brokerage has not updated the trustee has not alerted the broker yet. And so what it looks like is it looks like this property is actually going to auction, but it's not. Okay, it's not at all. Okay, so what I mean by that is this. It's just because you see a property listed on auction.com, or there's another one called Hubzu, H-U-B, obviously, I don't know what that all stands for, but Hubzu, H-U-B-Z-U. Similar to auction.com, you'll see a lot of the same properties posted on there. So what happens is banks and institutions, they don't have time to go out and like check the property and see if anybody's still living there, and make sure that even that all the proper paperwork has been filed. And so what they do is they outsource all of the stuff that happens once a property goes into foreclosure. It goes into pre-foreclosure rather. A trustee service, basically an attorney or a law firm that handles all the legalities of actually foreclosing, filing the right documentation, issuing the public notices, all that stuff legally has to be done correctly. And so the lenders, the original investors who have all their money pulled together, and they call it a bank or they call it a lending house or something, they don't want to do all that stuff. So they outsource that to a trustee. A trustee a lot of times we'll have arrangements made with auction houses to say, hey, we've got a property coming up on foreclosure, and you need to go out and start telling the world that this property is going to go to auction. Why? It's just like, when we go post something and we're letting people know, hey, this is coming soon. Same concept. So you notice there when I pulled that up, it said it's not cleared for auction yet. No, it's not cleared for auction yet because it hasn't actually gone into full foreclosure yet. In fact, we caught the property up. The arrears are completely caught up on that property. We've actually started making payments again on that property. And that particular property, we're getting ready to list it on MLS to let the world know you can go buy this property on MLS. We're going to price it. You saw the price was about $527. Our price is going to be about $485. Even though the value there is $527, we're going to offer it at a discount because we want to get it sold quickly. But the point is that particular property, just because it's on auction.com, just because it's showing as listed for sale on a foreclosure site, does not mean that it's actually been foreclosed on. And here's another little clue that you guys can kind of just file away. Nor does it mean that the property can't still be purchased from the seller. So some of you that are actually out there, you might want to look on those lists and say, hey, is this actually fully foreclosed on yet? Or is it just posted is it cleared for auction yet? If it doesn't clear for auction, there's still a chance to stop the auction by paying the house off. So Peggy says, that's your house. Well, it is one of the properties that I own in the Portland area, and we're getting ready to list it. Peggy, you've been to that house before, so I know you know that one. Peggy, Jenny says that wasn't the house, Peggy, you're talking about the one I'm working on. So you guys will have to make sure you get in alignment there. The point is this, that that property is actually showing on Zillow as auction.com. It's going to foreclosure. And what about the auction date, November 6th? Those are just the numbers that the auction.com people have from the original trustee proceedings. But the loan has already been caught up. The property is now moving. We're moving it into actually getting it listed on MLS. And in fact, I've been working on the listing agreement the last couple of days because it is a lot of work, but we put that thing out on MLS. And my expectation is, by the way, if you guys want to keep track of that, my expectation is it's gonna sell pretty quickly, because typically when something's off market, that means the MLS world doesn't know about it. It's just a handful of people, investors, a buyer's list, that kind of thing. Once it goes to MLS, the whole entire world knows about it. Like, this thing is for sale. You can buy it. Here's the person to call right now. By the way, if you notice, if you go to auction.com and try to buy that house, you can't buy it. So they post these things, but you can't actually buy it unless it's been approved or cleared for actual auction for sale. So Peggy says, I thought John could help. Yeah, I'd be happy to help. Just let me know how I can. If you guys want to help me, I'd be happy to help you, or I can help you even if you can't help me. But yeah, that's the property there in Portland that I'll be selling. And by the way, the terms on that one are really, 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 really good. Some of you guys have seen that 2.99% interest rate on a loan that is fixed. It's a 40-year loan now. That was part of the way we negotiated it. We got the arrears caught up. We got the loan extended. And we got the monthly payments reduced to $1,827 a month right there in the Hollywood district. Fantastic house. If you guys want to know more about that, make sure you DM me or text me, let me know, and I'll be happy to get you the stuff. I would love to sell it to somebody in this group or in the PDX REI group before it goes to MLS, because I like working with people that I know, like, and trust already. But it's we put it out there. I haven't really pushed it hard. I think that Mary has marketed a little bit in the group, but so far a lot of people looked at it. Nobody's bought on it, bid on it yet, partly because it does require to get that good financing. It does require a very big chunk of money brought down to basically buy out my position. So my position in the thing is about $150,000 what I got into it. So someone's got to buy out my equity, and they'll still have equity in it even after they pay me my part. So I'm leaving a big chunk of equity in it, but you have to bring me my part of it so I can just turn over and put you in the place. You just start making monthly payments, put you on title, and you're good to go. So Sherry says, can one place a flip on off-market list before complete for sale? Okay, Sherry, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. You're saying, can somebody place their flip on an off-market list before complete for sale? No, by off-market, do you mean like a buyer's list, like an investment list? The answer is yes, but think about this. Why would an investor want to buy a completed house, right? On a flip, your typical buyer is a retail buyer who's using FHA, VA, conventional financing, right? So they can pay a premium price for your finished product. So yes, you can put it on an off-market list, a buyer's list. There's a lot of, by the way, if you guys know Marina, I think it's Stanesco in Portland. Look up Marina. She works with Todd Kono, and Marina has they have an extensive buyer's list. Will Chapman is another one. They have a huge buyer's list. These are mostly off-market buyers of all different shapes and sizes, different budgets, different products. They work the Portland market pretty hard and heavy. So if you guys are looking for somebody that, if you have a deal that you want to get put out there, let me know. I can help you guys get connected to some of these buyers lists. But typically, if someone's going to need to pay retail pricing, we wouldn't go to off-market buyers list. We want to go put it on market to where the entire world knows about it. I offered this one just kind of here and there off market because there's still a little bit of work that needs to be done, and because I was offering it kind of at a discount. And just, hey, sometimes it's easier to work with investor buyers than retail buyers. That's just me personally. Some people find it very easy to work with retail buyers. I just literally, while we've been on this call, I had somebody reach out to me about that property. And they said, well, can I look at I want to buy it, but I want to have the inspector look at it. And then, there's my offer. And can you send me over a copy of the trust documents so I can have my lawyer look at it? Yes, of course I can do all that. And I would be happy to do that. But typically retail buyers they drag their feet. They're looking for a reason to say no, whereas investment buyers are typically looking for a reason to say yes. I like working with investment buyers. I myself am an investment buyer, and I love just getting deals done. So anyway, guys, I think that's about it. Can't believe the time flew today. We're almost up on an hour here. So that was fun, at least for me. If that was helpful for you guys, drop a comment, say yes, comment, let me know what you thought. If you have any questions, feel free. Let's see here. Borrower missed the timing of the market. Curious about options for future reference. Sherry, again, I'm not sure what you're talking about on this one. Borrower missed the timing of the market. I don't know exactly what you're referring to, Sherry, but I'd be happy to answer that. I'm not sure if you're talking about the one that I'm working on. Jenny says, always helpful. Cool. Good. Thank you, Jenny. Misty, nice to have you here today, Misty. Misty says, thanks. Perfect. Mary, good to see you here today. Okay, perfect. Great value. Awesome. Guys, hey, appreciate it. If you guys could do me a huge favor, if you aren't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, then just go ahead and click subscribe right now. That way you can be notified. I go on there and do live sometimes without pre-scheduling it. Guys, I am here to help. I love doing this. I love working with you guys. Let's just make sure that we're able to bring each other value. Let's be able to build each other up. Go in and make some comments in the groups. Bring some deals. If you don't have a deal you're working on right now, if you're looking for something, you're trying to get a place to get started, then just reach out and post it in the group. Say, hey, I just really want to get into something. What can I work on? And you'll probably be surprised at how many opportunities are out there right now. So appreciate you all. Thanks for being here again today. Hey, Carolyn, good to see you here today too. Cool. Guys, appreciate you. Go have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll see you on the next Tuesday Talks, if not sooner. In the meanwhile, you guys go out there and do well. And as my business coach, Myron Golden, says, stay blessed by the best. I love that, and appreciate you all being here. God bless. Take care.